Start by loosening the 3 upper top hat strut nuts, leaving a few threads connected so that they are able to be removed by hand. Start by removing the upper bolt. This is the camber bolt. Then begin to remove the lower bolt. This is just to hold the strut in place. You're going to want to use the screwdriver or punch on the top camber bolt when you go to remove the lower, so that the strut does not fall down onto your CV axle. After removing the lower bolt and removing the ABS and brake line from the strut housing, you're going to want to go up top while gently holding the strut and remove the finger tight nuts that you left. Gently pull and wiggle and you will have the strut come out. Next step is going to be locating a small lip on all 3 corners of the top hat, as you're going to need to use that to sit on a bench or piece of metal when you go to remove the factory studs. When removing the factory studs, you're going to want to use a 3 to 5 pound hammer. This is a situation of the better the weight, the easier it is going to be knock these things out. After all 3 have been knocked out, use the 3 matching bolts and the self-locking nuts and tighten them down thoroughly. Make sure to not over tighten these, as they will strip. Just a nice twist on there will be good enough. Make sure to install the spacer so that the holes fit over top of the nuts so that the spacer fits flush. Installation is as simple as reversing what you did to remove the strut, making sure that the camber bolt is on the top and that the other bolt with no nub on it is on the bottom, and make sure to reinstall the ABS and brake lines. Now moving to the back, there are going to be 2 bolts underneath your floorboard/carpet. You're going to want to remove those before beginning the lower singular nut on the bottom of the strut housing. Once removed, gently tap with a hammer to get it all the way out. You may or may not need to use the punch. After the bolt is removed, it helps to have another person or yourself stand on the brake rotor to jiggle and wiggle the strut housing out. Installing the extended bolts for the rear is the same as the front. You're going to want to use a nut to give you a good point of something to whack on. Give it a couple of good whacks, and out she comes. Installing the 2 matching bolts for the rear is the same as the front. Tighten them down, but making sure not to over torque them, as they will strip just like the fronts. These will be the 4 larger bolts in the set. Spacer goes on the exact same way as the front does. Reinstallation is a little bit tricky, as the larger bolts will cause you to need to bounce on the rear rotor to get it in place. Once they're through the holes, tighten everything up and you'll be good to go. Making sure to remember to reinstall the lower bolt to the strut. Putting your wheel on, and do not forget to torque the wheel to 90 pounds. Thank you for watching, and enjoy your lift kit.